Hello everybody, welcome to my presentation, and today I'll be presenting one activity using Scratch application. So the topic which I have choose from the history subject is historical sources. So the definition of a source is anything that survives from the past or tells us about the past. So there are two types of sources, primary sources and secondary sources. So primary sources, they are the original first-hand materials of history, and the secondary sources, they are the product of history. That is the second. So some examples of primary sources are artwork, speeches, letters, diaries, interviews, and autobiographies, whereas some example of secondary sources are journal articles, biography, encyclopedias, dissertations, research, analysis, newspaper articles. So our target for this Scratch activity is for junior high school students in their first year and first semester or first term in junior high school. So junior high school is the first time students study the history subject. They are briefly exposed to it in elementary school through social studies. Historical sources is one of the first topics that they need to study because history cannot fully be studied without this understanding, knowing what primary sources and secondary sources are and differentiating. So the objective basically is to create a quiz by using the Scratch application to test whether students can differentiate between primary and secondary sources. So students will need to score the maximum point, in this case 6 points, to complete the quiz. If they do not score the maximum point, that is they score between 0 and 5, they will repeat it over again. Only 6 sources are used in this activity for demonstration purposes. Okay, so now we're going to start the coding. The first thing we want to do is to change the sprite. So we're gonna change it into maybe this human being here, Danny, and maybe we want to flip Danny because we want him to face this way. And then we're going to choose a background to start with. So maybe we can start with the forest. So he can meet us there in the forest and say something to us. So the first thing we need to do is to enter this one here. And since we are doing a quiz and then we want students to have some scores, so we want to make a variable which is score. So okay. So we're gonna set the variable score to 0 because each time we want to start, we want it to be 0. So then we want him to say something. So to begin the quiz activity, so he can say hello, welcome to the quiz. Welcome to the quiz. Welcome to the quiz. So he can say that for like 7 seconds. And after he has said that, now um, we want to switch the backdrop because we want to change the setting for that. So yeah, we want to change the backdrop. So I already have the ones which I'm going to use because I've downloaded them and saved them in a folder. So the folder is here. So these are the sources I'm going to use. So they're already here. I've named them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the order in which I want to add them. So this will be the first one. So that's the next backdrop that I want to have. So I can already upload all the backdrops which I need. So it will be easier for me later to use them other than going there over and over again. So they're already there, all of the backdrops I want to use, right? So now, um, I want to use, go to the sprite and the code. So now I want to add like the question to them, to the students who are doing the activity. So you want to ask them like, is it a primary source or secondary source? So basically, this is what the questions will be. Is it a primary source or is it a secondary source? And then you want to add the if the control for the answer. If sorry, if this then else answer. So you want to use the operators of equal. So if answer, so let's look for the answer. If answer equals, because the first one we've put was a primary source, if answer equals primary source, then change score. So my variable will be score, change score by 1. And I want to add a sound as well. So maybe if he gets the correct one, we want to start a sound. So what kind of sound do we want? Maybe we can search for sound like a cheer. Maybe this one. Maybe this one. So we add this sound. So go back to coding. So we add the sound. And then he can say something like, great, try the next one. Great, try the next one. Try the next one for 4 seconds. For 4 seconds. So else, if he gets the wrong answer, we can put a sound of wrong answer. Like, let me see. Wrong answer can be maybe this one, like kind of a sad sound. So go back to coding. So if he gets wrong answer, we can add this and we can say something like wrong answer for 4 seconds. Wrong answer. We can say wrong answer. Wrong answer for like 4 seconds. For like 4 seconds. Yeah. So now, one very important thing we need to do, because this is the backdrop, right? And we want to change the backdrop to, we want to change the backdrop to these ones showing the sources, right? So we need to go back and we need to switch backdrop, right? So here, before we ask the question, we want to switch the backdrop. So this is here. So we have this one here. Switch backdrop. So you want to repeat this over and over again. So we have to switch to backdrop 1. So it's the first backdrop that we begin with is the forest. And then we switch to backdrop 1. So we want to do this for all because we are going to change the backdrop. So let's duplicate it here. Let's duplicate it here. But let's switch to backdrop 2. So now backdrop 2, we have to change the answer because backdrop 2 is backdrop, this one, backdrop 3, sorry, is a primary source. So the forest is backdrop 2 and then the letter is backdrop 3. So 4. So we're gonna switch. So let me fix that. The coding. So the blank one is backdrop 1. So this is backdrop forest. This is backdrop 2. And this is backdrop 3. So backdrop 3, which is a textbook, then it is a secondary source. We have to change the answer, right? And then we add it here. So then again, it's the same thing. Okay, we need to copy, duplicate it, and we can put it here. Move this here, move this here. Let's fix the typing error here. Secondary. So next one is backdrop 4, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. Backdrop 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay. Where's 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this. So let's fix it. Let's check. So the backdrop is this one. So then we switch to backdrop 1, which is a primary source. Then switch to backdrop 2, which is a secondary source. Then switch to backdrop 3. Then let's duplicate it again. Duplicate here, which is a backdrop 4. Let's see. And then backdrop 5 and 6. Let's duplicate here, 5 and 6. So let's see. Okay. So we have the backdrop 1, backdrop 2, backdrop 3, backdrop 4, backdrop 5, and then backdrop 6. Okay, so now we have the background which we have changed. We've labeled the answers, we've changed according to the correct answers, and the score we want to add. And the last slide, we want them to try again. So we're going to change the wrong answer and write try again, because we want them to do it all over again if they did not score the 6 total marks. So in case someone scores the total mark, so what we can do is, if here they score the total mark, so we want to drag this from here. So if the score, we take the variable, the score is 6, that is the total, then what we can do again, we want to like congratulate the person to say, oh, you've made it. So we're gonna add another background. So yeah, add another backdrop here. So at the end of this, it will be easier. So at the end of this, add like a congratulation kind of thing, like this one. So we can add some kind of text, maybe this one, maybe to say congratulations, I guess. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah, so it's small. We can make it a bit bigger here, here. Congratulations. Big, but not too big. Just the right size here is okay. So then, yeah, we go back to the coding for the sprite. So we can, if then, so it can go to switch backdrop, which is party. So now what we want to do, because we want them to repeat, like if they did not score the total 6 point, so we want them to repeat until, right? uh so I think we can use this sprite here, this one, to cover the whole until the end. So we want to say if repeat until, we can use this operator equal, and score, variable score is 6. The variable is 6 until the variable is 6. Yeah, repeat until the variable is 6. Okay, so let's see. Set score, hello, repeat. So I think also it will be good to set the score, because when we start over again, because we want to repeat it here, um, duplicate. So here, when we are repeating, we want to set the score to 0 again. So here and then here. And now, because we also want to try to do it all over again, then, like, if we want one student to do it and then afterwards to pass it on to the other student, because the backdrop will not change, the last backdrop for it to go back to the first one again in the cycle. So what we can do here, we can go to backdrop and code. So what we can do is switch to backdrop, jungle, forest. So event, so we can go back to this backdrop when it's clicked. We go back to this backdrop automatically. Now, also what we want to do, that was sprite, is we want to add like a song playing. So when clicked, we want to add a sound. So what kind of sound we want to add? Kind of like a nice something to get, like a nice loop to get the students, maybe this one sounds okay, but so we want to add that sound. So let's choose like repeat until. So sound, we chose the guitar sound, like a guitar sound. Maybe play until done. And so we want to repeat it until, so let's go to operators and play until the variable, the score is 6. So we'll start it with the green flag. So this is the one we used. So we use the variable we set for score. We use the repeat the loop. So the students will have to repeat everything until they get the correct score. And we use the if else function. Okay, so the next thing we are going to look at is the Scratch activity. I will get this one wrong. So you'll see, I started from the beginning again because I got one wrong. So this time I'll make sure I get all correct. So now I've scored all the 6 marks.